and my sister. Ashley is a problem child in our family. When he was born, he always sleeps during the day and then cried all night. It keeps us awake. We hope it will improve a bit when he grows up. But as a child, he went from a baby's cry to a scream, saying there's a monster under his bed or in his closet, even in the corner, as long as his rich imagination, where you want to be. And he starts screaming. He begged his mother to stay in his room. Mom would lie on the floor until she fell asleep, and then quietly sneak out of the room. But he left the room less than 5 minutes later. We'll go back because of Ashley's screams. Things started to get serious. Finally, my parents put him in my room. There is someone who can accompany him from time to time. His condition improved dramatically, but not for me. He used to be angry when I was sleeping. It's very distracting, and several times he's been whispering to me like crazy all night. Inner buckle, are you awake? I feel like there's a monster under my bed. At the beginning, I try to be a responsible son and help him check under his bed or a disposal. But he started waking me up every night. I feel more and more irritable, but he seemed to be improving. And then finally, I came up with a brilliant solution. I gave him a flashlight so he can use it to photograph our closet or corner to prove to himself that there is nothing there. At the same time, I prepared myself a pair of earplugs. His new weapon, and my earplugs are great. Very lucky. It seems he was yelling, growing up with monsters, and you can sleep happily all night. We tried to get him to do it again, have your own room, but he begged to be with me, said I could keep the monster away from him. I know how to share my room, rather than having your own room, but it's better to be woken up by screaming in the middle of the night, so I agree with my parents' arrangement. They say I'm their savior, and for a while, everything was fine, probably because we have shared a room for many years, so we are closer than the average sister. The 7-year gap between us, it makes it difficult for us to have an equal relationship. But he always respected me and loved me very much. And I think I have a strong desire to must protect him. And I will love him unconditionally. Before I left home to go to college, and he made it to high school, things have changed. We talk on the phone a lot, and he revealed the secret of his sleep problems. He said he always woke up in the middle of the night, swear there's someone in his room. When he was a little boy, he didn't sleep with a flashlight, but now he's picked up the habit again. He keeps checking corners, the closet, or any place where shadows gather. When I came home, he looks worse. His face was pale, eyes with deep dark circles. Lack of sleep began to affect his personality. He began to become easily irritable. He insisted that in the middle of the night, there are figures in his room, but none of us saw them. Just before I went home, my parents finally found this disturbing. Dow needs to take him to the doctor. They are on his body. Can't find any problems. So we suggested that we should find a psychiatrist. Actually, I didn't mind seeing a psychiatrist at first. And psychiatrists tell us that when a person begins to experience severe lack of sleep, as big as my sister, the brain starts to get weird. He has insomnia because he thinks he saw something, and psychological exhaustion makes insomnia worse, and it creates a vicious cycle. The doctor prescribed MBN. Ask him to take it once a week to deal with the problem that caused his insomnia. It seemed helpful at first. He could sleep again. This greatly improved his mood. He became more like a normal middle school girl. His grades are back to the previous level. I left home, and everyone thought it was over. And then high school. In first grade, he started getting worse again. He had trouble sleeping again at night. He stopped taking NBA. He claims that when he took the drug, he has nightmares. I went home during the winter vacation and stay with him in his childhood room. While I was there, he doesn't seem to be sleeping very well, and as soon as I make any sound, he jumps. But for the most part, he looks okay. In the last week of winter vacation, I lost a pair of earrings, so I rummaged around the room, try to remember where the earrings are. In the process of finding, I was in his room, found several books about demons and mysterious rituals. When I confronted him, he began to cry. I need to make him stop before you leave. I can't do this anymore. I needed him to stop. So he says. This sudden collapse left me defenseless. What needs to be stopped? I asked him to hold himself. He had this troubled look in his eye. It makes me feel like he's a kid again. Nico, something follows me in the middle of the night. I swear, during the day or while you're around, those things won't come out. But when I'm alone at night, I can hear and see. What do you hear and see? I don't know. I didn't look at him directly. He appeared in the shadow of the wall. When sleeping with me, he's going to say some really bad things to me. He said he was going to kill me. My family, friends, anyone close to me. He told me to give them up, say they don't love me at all. I just can't. I can't. He started spitting. I held him and tried to make everything better. But I can't stay forever. I have to go back to school to start a new semester. Actually begging me not to go. Said he couldn't do it without me. But I had to go. I told my parents what he had said to me. They were obviously worried about how this might turn out, and told his psychiatrist. His psychiatrist said, it's just because of the stress of starting a new semester. He also said that if he could get enough sleep, we'll get better. Those shadows. Maybe it's just his sleep-deprived brain, out of thin air, and those low rain sounds. It seems to exist only in his dreams. But if he starts showing up during the day, hallucinations and auditory hallucinations, then we have to contact him immediately. But before that, it's probably just stress and lack of sleep. Unfortunately, he didn't get better. After I left, he collapsed very quickly. He began to fall asleep at school often, become irritable, and began to distance himself from his friends. He became very tired, and drag him out of his bed during the day is impossible, his psychiatrist said. This is due to depression caused by insomnia, and I wrote him a new prescription. The new medication did not help. I went home during the summer vacation. He became reticent and indifferent to everyone. I hope being by his side can help him sleep again. Maybe it can help him stop but all his life. The first time he asked me to sleep somewhere else, he told me that he didn't need me anymore. I went to sleep in the guest room, very sadly, after a few weeks, and I found myself awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, lying in bed unable to fall asleep, knowing that my sister might be awake too, and I was dying to talk to him. I crept down the corridor. The whole house is eerily quiet. His door was open. When I turned and walked into his room, I stopped walking, and my sister, my dear sister, hanging from a fan in her ceiling, swinging quietly. I scream out loud, screaming for my parents. They rushed out their door, then run to me. We stop and we see what's in front of us, but not simply. It was my sister's body that suddenly stunned us. In the moonlight, by his window, there is a barely visible human form standing right behind him. It was a dark shadow, like flowing water. No body, but clearly there. He turns around. I don't think he has a face, and I know he saw us. He came a little closer to us. Then it slowly melts into the floor and disappears. His death was ruled a suicide. The police didn't believe us. There is no evidence that anyone else was in the house. No sign of struggle with his school teacher, friend psychiatrist, even our previous conversation with his psychiatrist. The words all suggest a restless young girl tragically ended his life. Psychologist insists. These are just our brains. Try to find a solution to this tragedy. Our love for ice. That led us to suddenly come up with these explanations. But we all saw. We know where that thing is. And he hasn't left yet. A couple of weeks later, after we said goodbye to S-Class and buried him, he's back. I saw him in my room, look at me from the corner. That night, the low rain began. So let me tell you a little bit about this. Recently, because of the dubbing tool I use, something went wrong. It is temporarily unavailable. You can listen to my voice right now, in the voice of the first story. Due to the change of dubbing tools, the sound quality may be a little different. I don't know if you can accept it. Please also give me some advice. Thank you. I am a Dr. Lee. Barely. I used to be a doctor. I quit the job about a year ago because I had a very unfortunate encounter. That happened last September. We're all getting by here. After all, I'm studying life and death. That's why I'm so good at this job. I can put all the superstitions about death, unreasonable things aside, return to life itself. Let people have some final time, getting along with the bodies of those they love. Dr. Lee, most people don't think it's a good career, but it's actually surprisingly stable and important work. As the saying goes, only two things in life are certain, death and taxes. And I take that as a sin. And when I was very young, and I realized I didn't know anything about math, so we have to give up the digital path, alongside death. Although it is a stable job, but it's stressful. I live in a small town in North America. Where could it be easier? Due to the low population density here, and a low murder rate, the workload should be low, right? Don't forget, I'm not very good at math. I forgot. An important part is taken into account. When I came to work here, the population here is 70 years old. The population here in 5 years, falling fast like a slide. It used to be about 2 corpses a week. Now it has increased to an average of more than 7. The town where I work is not like anywhere else. There are funeral home staff and a small team to help you with chores. I am the only Dr. Lee in our town. I want to move and make up these corpses and send them to the funeral. I keep asking my boss, ask one more person to help me. He keeps answering me, he will think about it, and then obviously forget about it afterwards. So, you can imagine, when this month, when a young man appeared in the courtroom, how surprised I was. He couldn't look more ordinary. Medium height, slender body, looks a little cringe. Nothing particularly striking or suspicious. He introduced himself with a smile on his face. His name was Jeffrey Harper. Then tell me, is my boss, Mr. Klingwood? Ask him to help me deal with these sudden, increased work. You can't imagine. For more assistance to help, how grateful I am. He took out a copy of his Dr. Lee's license. I took a look. It has been determined that his effectiveness has not expired, and then we got to work. We immediately dispose of the bodies of the day. With Jeffrey's help, much easier to handle. He has a wealth of experience and skills. Most of the bodies we have to deal with, an old man who died in his sleep, but we still have to deal with some, the remains of an accident on the farm. After all, we are in the country. The unfortunate person that day is fatal for being too close to the licorice bale base because of this accident, and the bodies that need to be rebuilt are the most difficult. But Jeffrey's handling is very professional. Make this person look brand new. I am very impressed. Dr. Lee is an on-the-go job here. We are not in the same office. Sit for 8 hours, then go home. Leave the finished bit until tomorrow to do it. Death and corruption wait for no one. So as soon as there is a death case, we have to deal with it right away. We did all the work. Then, at about noon that day, send this Hay agent victim away. And since Jeffrey just arrived in town, I want to say, invite him to the center of town for lunch, and he accepted. Therefore, we went to my favorite sandwich shop. The owner, Charles, was delighted to see me. I handled his father's body a few months ago, so every time I come into the store, he always thanked me very much. He'll keep repeating it. Said his father looked surprisingly good. I would be embarrassed to maintain a humble attitude, and with almost false politeness, thanks for his compliment, then say I miss his dad's soul. Must rest in peace or something. I had the pleasure of having Jeffrey with me that day, because then I have another chat topic. I introduce Jeffrey as our second new etiquette teacher. Charles welcomed him to the town, and to use his special secret, sandwiches for him. It's actually an Italian cold-cut sandwich, and a bottle of Coke. Jeffrey smiled, and thanked him for his kindness. We went outside. Sitting on it, Charles put it a few years ago. A picnic table with a somewhat damaged appearance, and in the cold mountain air. Enjoy our lunch. We just kind of started talking, Jeffrey told me, after he called Clint, after Mr. Wood applied for the job. About a week ago, he just moved to this town. He said that after a 3-year break, he's just had his license reviewed again. His father was a mortician, run a more traditional funeral company. He insisted that his son should follow in his footsteps. To maintain the family business, Jeffrey was happy to do so, and get your license right after graduation. He had a great time during his internship, until he has to deal with one. The little girl who was murdered by her father. It sent him into a state of confusion. He stopped moving towards the profession of ritual. I decided I wanted to go to 4 years of college, after studying for a semester and being transferred. He just wandered around in different towns, specializing in some weird jobs. During his wandering, something inspired him. It dawned on him, he still wants to get back into the industry. So he started looking for job openings. And Mr. Clingwood, this is the first job he ever got. I told him I was a bit surprised, because not many people willing to come to such a remote place for a job. A small town, let alone just to be an etiquette teacher. I myself have been to too many towns. So now, I must stay away from my family, a little closer, but it's so far away that I'm not expected participating in too much home time. He said he wanted a quiet, away from the world. He exudes I don't want to be probed into my privacy, so I decided not to ask anymore. We kept talking, and really open up the conversation. We share many of the same interests and hobbies. I ended up taking him around here, and had dinner together on the same day. I don't admit that I've fallen in love, but think about it. When you are a woman in her late 30s, in your golden years, when there's only a bunch of hillbillies around, what can you do? So, he's young. Me too. But, just when a spark was about to break out between us, there's laxative talk coming when there is a corpse to be disposed of. How are you feeling? Not the point of consideration at all. As unfortunate as it sounds, but in this line of work, you have to maintain your professionalism. We were at about 9 o'clock. Take old Wilma Waters away from his house, then transport the body back to the park for work. It was a fairly easy case, because Wilma died of natural causes. We found ourselves in a rather short period of time. Take care of everything, but the ups and downs between us before. The rice screen has been locked by an overweight 80-year-old man. We say goodbye to each other, lock Wilma in one of the freezers. Then they walked towards their respective ways home. I'm sure before I leave, I put the spare key to the world again, give it to Jeffrey, so if he arrives before me tomorrow morning, he can go in first. The next morning when I arrived, Jeffrey is helping Wilma get dressed. Apparently he was one of those early risers. It wasn't even 8 o'clock, and he seems to have been here for a while. Anyway, I pulled out the body I was responsible for, put makeup on them, hide the color of death. We had an appointment at 11 o'clock in the morning. Send Wilma back to Watska. Received many thanks from his family. We left the family quickly and quietly, following their grief, then go to lunch. Again, we talk about everything, but this time death didn't bother, and we talked for quite a while. I'm very happy. We may have made some progress. The only thing that bothers me, it's his cologne. He definitely sprayed that all over his body, and he continues to wield great power. It doesn't smell bad, as far as he is concerned. Just smell very familiar and strong. I don't remember where I smelled it, but I think it might have been when I was a kid. The smell of cologne on my grandfather. Anyway, I'm in a good mood. He's in a good mood. Everything looks so pleasing to the eye. Jeffrey called me the next day, and Luzon said there was an emergency at home. He has to take a few days off work. I'm a little annoyed, because I'm not feeling well. It's like there's an unknown disease plaguing me. I don't want to dispose of those bodies. I slept and woke up with nausea, vomiting, and headache. This has never been experienced before, but I told him it was fine when he came back. We'll meet again. When Mr. Clingwood suddenly entered the studio, I'm starting to pay for a corpse, carry out embalming work. I told him I didn't expect him to come, then ask him what he needs my help with. Mr. Clingwood rarely came to the morgue, because he's not much of a decorator, more like a business person. If I hadn't come, he will fill my place. But he was clearly not enthusiastic about the industry. I think he must have come suddenly for something important, so I put aside what I was doing. When we walked to my desk, he looked very disturbed, like falling ill at any moment. Even if Mr. Clingwood handled administrative business more than cadavers, it's been a long time, but he's still an old hand at it. I don't believe it. He will see or smell the smell of the morgue. It's uncomfortable. We're sitting at my table, and we started talking. I'm sorry to barge in like this all of a sudden, but I just got some disturbing news. About a week and a half ago, a patient from Jolie in the next town, the mental hospital, has disappeared. Employees, until this morning, didn't even notice he was gone. He is not extraordinary danger, but the Joe government warned all doctors in the area and the funeral home Because Collingwood looked troubled again, coughed again before he squeezed out the words. He's a neck. He was moving restlessly. Me too. I can't say anything. I can't imagine it. What kind of creepy weirdo is this guy? The thought of someone doing something to detoxify a corpse, it makes me feel more nauseous. Not that there will be karma. Still damned. It's just that it's disgusting and unhygienic. To make someone feel uncomfortable, it's so easy. I'll lean back a little bit. Let the table hold me. Okay, Mr. Collingwood? I swallow the bile from my throat, and I took a deep breath. Jeffrey, I'll keep an eye out for people who look suspicious. Jeffrey? Who is Jeffrey? Mr. Collingwood asked suddenly and sharply. Jeffrey Harper. You come and assist my trustee. There's something going on at his house, so I'm taking a few days off. When he came back, I will tell him these things. You are in this funeral home. The only employee I hired. You said there was a Lily ceremony here to help you. Suddenly, he looked very pale. It was terrifying. Mr. Collingwood looks older than usual, desperate and weak. The man who escaped was called James when Harold was locked up 3 years ago. He is a very talented etiquette teacher. Dizziness strikes. Collingwood shot past me, between the platform where the corpse lay and my chair, grabbed the phone ringing on the wall, and I was still in shock and fear. My nausea finally got out of my control. I can't stop being a puppet. So I ran to the table. He lowered his head and took the bag under the stage. The child began to vomit. As I leaned against the slightly embalmed corpse, I smelled something familiar. That's like Jeffrey. The smell of perfume coming out of my body yesterday is the same.